If you study Olympians such as Michael Phelps and others, you find that they spend a lot of time visualizing their future self. They spend a lot of time at night specifically, but also before they practice and just throughout their day, visualizing themselves achieving their dreams, visualizing themselves on that podium winning gold, visualizing themselves doing the perfect performance. They spend a lot of time visualizing their future self, and there's a huge amount of research that shows that in order to actually engage in what psychologists call deliberate practice is how you develop skills and abilities and ultimately transform yourself into someone who's an expert at something. The only way to engage in that level of practice and training on a daily basis, where you become elite at what you do, is to have a clear version of your future self, a clear vision of your future self. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about the importance of visualizing, seeing, thinking about your future self.
Feeling connected to your future, feeling the inspiration, the joy, feeling the exuberance, the love for your future every day is going to, just like your body follows your mind to the coffee maker, to the toilet every morning, to the known, your body is going to follow your mind right into that future because that's where your attention and your energy is.
There's even a great book called As a Man Thinketh, and in that book, he talks about how your mind is like a garden and your thoughts are the seeds. Most people's mind, or their garden of their mind, is overrun with weeds. They're not in control of their garden, just like it's run wild. And so one of the first steps is obviously tilling the ground, completely clearing it, and then planting the right seeds so that those seeds bear fruit. And so what you think about and what you feel creates your future self. And my question for you is, how much time do you actually spend visualizing your future self? How much time do you spend seeing it, feeling it, creating it, being grateful for it? Neville Goddard said, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Do you know who your future self is? Do you actually see yourself being there? Do you spend time thinking about your future self in the negative, where you're expecting poor health in the future or poor financial situations? Are you creating negative outcomes by the thoughts you're planting? Or are you proactively planting the right seeds? Are you proactively planting and visualizing and seeing a beautiful vision of your future self? Visualizing your future self, especially at night before you go to bed, seeing that and then spending your days creating it and living into that, performing into your future self is crucial. If you're not spending time visualizing your future self and also writing down your goals, writing them down, writing down the achievements of them, if you're not spending your life chasing and creating your future self and living intentionally, then what are you doing? You're actually living your life by default. You're just going through the motions. You're not actually doing anything. You're not being creative. You're not taking action. You're not using your agency as a human being. So the first step is actually choosing who your future self is. It's okay to choose something, and even if you don't believe it's possible yet, it's okay to choose something even before you visualize it, but choose it. Even if you choose, being in a happy relationship or being an entrepreneur or getting to a certain level of income or whatever it is, connecting with God, whatever it is, choose something even before you believe it, and then write it down. Then spend time visualizing it and seeing it and spending more and more time seeing it. Even if you don't feel like it's honest, spend your time seeing it. Spend your time writing about it, and then get to the point where you accept it. As you start taking action towards it, and as you just embrace that this is your future self, this is your identity, this is who you're going to be, you get to the point where you accept that this is just who you're becoming. This is who you are. And then as you take action towards your future self, you eventually integrate your future self. So you first start by choosing your future self, and you're the only person who can choose who you're going to be. But you have to choose who your future self is, or by default, your future self will just become someone. You don't want to set your future self up for disaster. So you might as well choose who your future self is. There's a great quote that says the best way to predict the future is to choose it, or to decide it and design it. And so choose your future self, or else someone else will. Only you can choose your future self. Then spend time seeing it, visualizing it, and then eventually you accept it. You just accept that this is your future self. This is who you're going to become. This is what's going to happen. You can stop doubting it. As you're taking action, your confidence will increase. Your expectancy will increase, and eventually you just get to the point where you accept your future self. You expect that this is who you are, this is who you're becoming, and then you integrate your future self. Every step forward you're taking power moves, you're taking actions towards your future self. You slowly and over time integrate the habits, the environment, the friends, the media. One of the great things is your input shapes your outlook. And so as you're weeding out, and that's really what you're doing with the garden of your mind, you're weeding out your former self. You're weeding out your former habits. You're weeding out the things you used to say yes to, and you now say no to those things. You've weeded out things, and you're now planting better seeds. You're planting with more intention. You're planting better seeds. You're planting higher quality seeds, and you're planting a more fruitful garden. of your life, and you're creating better and better outcomes, but you're the one who has to decide what that garden looks like, and you've got to be the one to plant those, and you've got to nourish those thoughts. And you train your thoughts by writing down your goals, by training your inputs, by telling people about your future self. There's a lot of research actually by Robert Cialdini. He talks about a principle called the principle of consistency. And as human beings, we have a desire to be consistent with our words. And so not only do you choose your future self, but you proclaim your future self. Bo Easton would say you declare your future self. You say, this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to accomplish. This is where I'm going to go, this is who I'm going to become, this is the life I'm going to create. By stating those things and by declaring them and by affirming them, you start to have a sense and a desire to be consistent with those. And as you take action towards those, often courageous actions, power moves towards your future self. You start to integrate. You start to build an environment around your future self. Marshall Goldsmith said, if you do not create and control your environment will create and control you. Integration means you're actually taking the actions you make. You're taking big leaps, and then you integrate it rather than reverting back. Reverting back would be having what Gay Hendricks would call an upper limit problem. He talks about that in the book, The Big Leap, where you make a step forward, but then because you're starting to feel good and you're starting to feel successful, you revert back to your comfort zone, which is feeling guilty or unworthy or whatever deep psychological issues hold us all back from success. And so you want to continuously integrate. As you learn something or as you improve, you set that as a new foundation for your current self, and then you keep improving. You have better friends around you, have better habits, you have a better environment, you've got better expectations, better measurements of success. You continuously integrate what you're learning along the way so that it just becomes a system and an aspect of yourself. And then you release your former self. You give yourself permission to just release your former self. Permission to not be who you used to be. Permission to forgive your former self. Permission to no longer be defined by your former self. In his book, Think Again, Adam Grant, the organizational psychologist, he talks about the importance of not attaching your current self to your former identity. A lot of times your former self made decisions or made commitments or took actions that no longer resonate with your current self. You can release your former self. You don't have to have any negative energy. In fact, you shouldn't have negative energy towards your former self. But as you're accepting your future self, as you're taking action towards your future self, as you're integrating your future self, you want to just release your former self. Let go of your former self. No longer be who you used to be. No longer say yes to what you used to say yes to. No longer believe what you used to believe. You actually are just continuously improving how you see the world, how you act, the clarity of your vision, the clarity of your action, the clarity of your word, the clarity of your integrity, the clarity of your morality. You're continuously improving your future self, and you're releasing your former self. And you're not the same person you were before, and you don't need to see the world the same way you did before. And you don't need to take the same actions you did before. You just release your former self every step of the way. So my invitation to you is visualize your future self, see your future self, feel your future self, be grateful to your future self. One of the things that Dr. Joe Dispenza said, and there's a lot of research on this, even in the realm of epigenetics, your brain doesn't know the difference between a visualization and an actual experience.
The act of closing your eyes, as an athlete, you know this, and you begin to rehearse in your mind, mentally rehearse what you're about to do, begins to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like you've already done it. Now the brain is no longer a record of the past. It's now a map to the future. And if you keep hitting that hardware over and over again, the hardware is going to become a software program. And who knows? You just may start acting like a happy person. There's no magic there.
And so if you visualize and if you feel grateful for an experience, your brain will begin to wire that as your reality. And then you'll start to actually manifest that reality. And so spend time visualizing, seeing, feeling, and being grateful for your future self, feeling those experiences, seeing them, rehearsing them, just like you would, just like a performer would rehearse an experience, just like an Olympian would rehearse an experience. And then you watch yourself perform and actually get better and better at actually creating the experiences in real life as you had in your visualizations. And then you can create that. You can create the outcomes you want. I can tell you this works. I recently wrote a book, and I spent some time visualizing what I want that book to look and feel like. And it's totally that. It's exactly what I wanted. And you are a creator. And the more time you spend visualizing and creating specifics, and then watching yourself create specifics, not generalities, creating specifics. What's a specific experience you want to have, or a specific result you want to create, or in a specific environment you want to create? The more you visualize specifics and then create those specifics, the more confidence you have. And then confidence creates the realm for more imagination. Albert Einstein actually said that imagination is more important than knowledge, but imagination is largely based on your level of confidence. And so as you even create small wins and celebrate those wins, then your imagination increases, and then with that increased imagination comes increased action and increased courage. And as you take more courageous actions, your confidence will continue to increase. So create with your imagination, create specifics with your mind, feel it, and spend time visualizing yourself. Spend time visualizing your future self. It's such a beautiful and important thing. Obviously, it's not enough. It's not enough to just think about it. You got to actually take bold action. One of the things I love about the book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, is he says not only do you want to have 10X vision, but you need to take 10X action. You need to take 10X the type of action and the quality and the consistency of action than you think you should. So it's not just about seeing. You do have to take 10X action. You actually have to engage in the behaviors of your future self. You got to actually apply courage. You got to take action. You got to be bold. You miss every shot you don't take. But those shots, you're not worried about making or missing every shot. You're just worried about taking action, and your actions begin to reflect your future self. Your environment begins to reflect your future self. Your situation begins to reflect your future self. Your income begins to reflect your future self. So who is your future self? That's my question. Who is your future self? Do you see that person? Are you clear on it? What are the specifics of that future self that you're now going to go create? I'm Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Cheers to your future self. Please like and subscribe to this channel. And also, down below is a full 30-day Future Self course. Full course. It's in a private channel. It's not on YouTube. It's in a private membership course, and you can actually get access to that for free and even go through that with your friends and your loved ones. Please do that. Please give it to someone you love. Please help other people learn the science of their future self. Have an amazing day.